What does the V model of the medical device system's development lifecycle cover?
The V diagram that we're looking at is a model of the development process, but it's not the development process itself. I liken this to, uh, say you're planning a vacation. You plan the destinations you want to get to, and you think about the activities you want to do, but that's separate from how we're going to get there and where we're going to stay and what order you're going to visit the destinations. You may choose to drive or fly. That's independent of the vacation model. Once you get there, you'll take pictures. You'll pack a camera to plan to take pictures. You'll pack a notebook to plan to take a journal. Once you get done with the vacation, you have the evidence that you went on the vacation. You've got the photographs, you've got the journal entry. You can go back later and revisit the whole vacation. But the V model tells you the what you need to do. The V model tells us that we need to do requirements. We need to do an architecture and a system design. We need to do a low-level design, and we need to implement the project in code. At each of those levels, we also know that we have planning for verification that needs to occur. And different types of verification need to occur depending on the activity. So the code is developed from the low-level design, so we need to plan unit testing to verify the code and verify that it meets the low-level design. For the system architecture, we plan integration testing, and then the integration test results verify that we actually implemented the architecture we said we would do. So at each of these stages, we plan to verify that we did what we said we would do. That way, when we get done, we can ask the question, did we build the thing right? And we can get a yes, we did. We fully, completely implemented and verified the medical device. Therefore, we've developed the product right.
Who should follow this development process?
Every medical device developer needs to follow the process. The V model is a description of those activities that have to happen in order to develop a medical device. And I should note, there are lots of V models out there. This particular one is just a DornerWorks representation of the development process that we do here at DornerWorks. For one thing, the law says that medical device manufacturers have to follow a quality management process. They need to follow good management practices. And they need to be able to provide evidence that they did that. And this is an overview that shows us the kind of things that we need to produce when we're developing a medical device.
What are the risks of ignoring this development process?
Well, one of the most obvious risks of not following the process is developing an unsafe and ineffective device that could harm the patients. We don't want to harm the patient. We don't want to harm the operator. So the entire medical device development process is a risk-based approach that looks at signs of potential harm and performs mitigations that then lower the level of harm. Once the risk level has been satisfied, that tells us exactly what processes to what level of detail we need to do. How we do that, that's a separate matter. Another risk that you might encounter would be the risk of a CAPA. This is a corrective action, preventative action. The risk that you would have to recall your device or perform a field update of your device. In any development process, we know that the earlier a problem is found, the less expensive it is to repair. So once your medical device is fielded, if you didn't follow the proper process and create a safe and effective device, you may have to recall that device, and that gets very expensive. There are several manufacturers right now going through very expensive recalls. We don't want our customers to experience that, so we advise them up front to follow the process in great detail so that we can avoid those problems later. The other thing that you might risk would be the reputation of your company. No developer wants to have a reputation of developing medical devices that are being recalled.
How do DornerWorks engineers implement this process?
Well, DornerWorks, as a supplier of medical device software and hardware, follows standard practices. So we are conformant with ISO 9001 and IEC 62304 is the process that we follow for software. IEC 60602 for hardware. So we conform to these standards. We also look to ISO 14971 for our risk management process. And we follow best practices in the industry. So we have the book that we follow for our quality management system. And the book tells us the activities that we need to do in order to produce a safe and effective medical device. We may work within the quality system of our customer in the case that we're augmenting their staff, or we may work in the DornerWorks quality process. Either way, we follow the process and we produce the evidence that we need in order to verify that we did so. But we've been developing medical device hardware and software here at DornerWorks for various West Michigan medical development companies, as well as companies around the world, to standards, US standards, as well as foreign standards. And we've been doing that for over a decade. The wide range of experience that we have with various medical technologies has led us to develop reusable processes and reusable software that we can use to reduce the cost of the product to our customer. We've developed experience in-house then that's also applicable to our customer's product. Some of the technologies we've worked with include beds, ambulance equipment, prosthetics, some ultrasound devices, and even some surgical devices, and some thermal treatment devices, just to give you a broad overview of the types of applications that we've been involved in.